Well, the League1 Ontario season for 2020 was officially canceled on Friday. Not great news for anyone in the Ontario soccer community, and certainly not Carm Moscato and Dino Rossi, League1 Ontario commissioners. My name is Marty Thompson. I work for CampBell.ca and for League1 Ontario's media side. Maybe the first question is, what went into this decision? Because there are so many factors and so many things that people aren't even aware about. But what were some of the main factors that went behind this?
Carm, you want to take this?
Yeah, perfect. So we've had a full year of, I guess, since March, obviously following the news, following all the developments with the COVID, situation that has really sidelined all of us in different ways. And what we really came to realize most recently is our whole league would have been predicated on Ontario Soccer's return to play stage 3. And that stage has not been entered yet, and there's actually no real sign of when that'll happen. Stage 3 would enable 11v11 competition, and therefore our league to exist across the province. Right now, we're in stage 2 of return to play in Ontario Soccer's plan. Although it's been extended, meaning we can, more numbers on the pitch for certain events, all those types of things, it would still be within a region. So for a provincial high-performance league, there was no ability to cross over in regions without quarantine and different factors, and we are running out of time. So we figured it would be the best time to look at 2021 and come back even stronger.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. And further to that, just the operational complexities of trying to operate a proper competition within these slightly loosened stage 2 rules would have just been operationally have been almost impossible. It's easier for us to just get out of the way and let this stage unfold and let our clubs sort things out for themselves in the fall.
Well, last time we spoke, you guys were potentially looking at a single site tournament for starting maybe in September. Dino, what were some of those other scenarios discussed, and how come they're not possible? Maybe is a second follow up to that question.
Yeah, Carmelina and I worked quite hard on creating a bunch of different scenarios. We had scenarios that started from mid-August up to the weekend of September 18th to the 20th, with start dates that varied depending on when we might be able to enter stage 3. And we, throughout this process, from when we announced that there wouldn't be a normal season in the summer and that we were shifting our attentions to trying to do something in the August-September window, we maintained optimism that, that as the numbers kept dropping in the province and things seemed to get more under control, that there would be a chance that we would be able to see stage 3 and be able to roll out a full province-wide competition. But with no stage 3 and with stage 2, that is a loosened stage 2 that's been announced this Wednesday by Ontario Soccer, you're so limited in terms of being able to create these very small regional bubbles. You have to have these very restrictive rules around match officials and how they're scheduled to games within a bubble. That we started gaming it out and saying, okay, let's say we get through an initial round of regional games. What if you want to advance to something more like a knockout round or what have you? You just can't do it because you just can't have regions overlapping each other. So it just made more sense for us to step out of the way and let our clubs organize some informal, friendly competition in the September to November window within the regulations, the guidelines that Ontario Soccer has provided. And from what we're hearing in terms of feedback, that feels fairly feasible for them to execute.
Mm-hmm. And I'll add, Marty, great description there, Dino. I mean, I'll add the part about like a player-centric approach, which is what we take pride in this league. And, we knew that whenever that date, that elusive date that we're all waiting for came out, that we could return to play in some normal fashion, 11v11, we would have wanted about 2 to 3 weeks of preseason. We guaranteed 2 in our planning. But when you look at other leagues, CPL aside, I'd have to say that our league has done extremely well to minimize injuries. But you still see a lot of injuries coming about, whether they're soft tissue or no acute major accidents yet, which is great. Hopefully not at all. But with other leagues across the world, especially women's leagues, tons of ACLs, things of that nature. So it is also ultimately for the safety of the players and everyone involved.
I can see the comments already. People are going to ask about PLSQ because they're already playing. So am I right to understand that Ontario is just a bit more cautious, just in general? Is that the reason why? Would you say?
I think it's fair to say that their government has taken a different approach. And remember that this is not Ontario Soccer deciding when we enter into stage 3. This is the provincial government of the province of Ontario having to approve Ontario Soccer's strategic initiatives. And while I'm sure Ontario Soccer would love for us to be able to open up because it would be good for the game, we are working within, as a collective here, trying to get all of us get over this pretty terrible scenario that we've been living in for the last 5 months. And so we have to think from a public health standpoint. Quebec has taken a different approach societally and in sport, and so far it seems to not have been creating any major problems. But it is what it is, and we live in Ontario, and so we have to abide by the laws and the expectations of the government here.
Okay, fair enough. I just thought we would get comments on Instagram, so I thought we would.
We certainly. Well, I mean, I'm sure Carm and I have been watching their games. The final scores of all their games vary with a lot of jealousy, but it is what it is, right?
That's fantastic. Okay, so maybe let's talk about the impact. So, I mean, obviously it's a developmental league. There are coaches that are missing out on a full season, players, even officials. So maybe this is directed at Carm to start. What does that impact mean to you and to the organization? And maybe what are some ways that hopefully that's mitigated over the next couple months?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think with every setback is an opportunity. I mean, that's the mindset I think we have to have as a society in sport. And, there's a lot of opportunity to grow outside of the pitch, a lot of free education that was never done, a lot of innovation that has never been, executed before. So there's something about taking these moments and, for a player, if it's a player, for example, if it's a coach, studying the game, making sure that you're keeping up with all the other leagues, what rules have changed, how has it impacted the game, keeping your physicality up and in your fitness and your general health. There are a lot of opportunities where this pause could actually be the difference in some people's careers, whether you're aging, whether you're young. Some people had injuries, they can pour into those to make sure that they're ready for 2021. So, it's really how the individual and how, the individual really frames this opportunity. As a league, we're going to take the same one. We're going to take the opportunity to get better, to grow, to look at what we were going to deliver. And even though we were very proud of what we designed for 2020, there's always 1-2% margins that you can improve. So that's what we'll really be honing in on, getting better every day.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so then looking ahead to 2021, that's something you already mentioned, Carm. So maybe we'll start with Dino here. What kind of changes do you foresee for COVID-19 and the impact on, players, clubs, et cetera? And what are you maybe best hoping for next season?
I think what I'm hoping for is a vaccine that is widely available around February, so that by late April, early May, we're all inoculated and back on the field, and we can operate, whatever normal is, and so Carm and I have had this conversation already, and we believe that we need to plan for the execution of a normal season, and yet at the same time have a backup plan, which in fairness, we've done all the work for what a backup would look like, because that would have been what this fall season would have looked like, which would have been a scaled down game day operations experience. We had to, based on the guidelines, we had to, lock up change rooms, No fans in the stands. So, we obviously don't want that if we can avoid it. We prefer to have a very normal operation, but a lot of it depends on how quickly a vaccine, I think, is made available. And so I will be watching, and Carm, I'm sure, will be watching the news very carefully to see when all these different vaccines that they're talking about are ready to hit the market and are widely distributed. So I think that's a critical thing. But I do have confidence that in the spring we will have a season. It's just a question of what's it going to look like when we start, and what will it look like by the end of it. Who knows? Maybe as the season rolls, we might be transitioning because of the vaccination rates and whatnot, to returning back to normal. Whereas maybe at the beginning, it's more of a modified delivery. We'll have to play these scenarios out and have plans for our license holders for when the season kicks off. But we're confident that no matter what scenario is thrown at us, we'll be able to execute professionally.
Okay, fair enough. And then, I mean, a message to the players. There are people that are very sad, I'm sure, today, us included, obviously. What's your message to them? Question for both of you, I guess, and even coaches, fans, everything for this season.
I think it's normal to be disappointed. That shows, we all care and we've all poured into this and tried to get something off the ground, but it's a decision to be defeated, right? There's this just about keeping going forward and understanding to set new goals and targets for next year, and do as much as you can every day to get better. And if you need a day off, you can probably afford it now. Depends on your mentality, but really start to get ready for 2021. And that's holistically in your mind, in your body. And that's, I think it's a gift, honestly. It's a weird, odd gift to not be out there and to use this time that you never had and you'll never get back to do something you've never done.
Yeah, we had a call with the clubs last Friday, and to let them know that this was likely the direction we were going to go. And for me, that was a really difficult call, and this whole scenario has been personally very difficult. It's been part of my life for the last 6-7 years. I've operated on a calendar of, in the spring, we see all our friends again. We see, who's the new big name in the league on the male and the female side, and, which clubs have done some amazing things in the off season to get ready for the new year. And this year that was taken from us. And for me, I feel like my equilibrium has been thrown off a little bit. So when I was so hoping that come September, we'd be out and seeing everybody again. I've been around this group of license holders and the players for a very long time. And so there's a lot of friends, a lot of good relationships. And, but that's what COVID has done for all of us. There's a lot of people who don't get to see their families. They don't get to see their friends the way they'd like to, other than on something like this on a video call. And so, why would we be spared if society as a whole is struggling through this? We're part and parcel of that. So, personally, a lot of mixed emotions. I do feel sad, but and I feel terrible for players, terrible for coaches, and terrible for match officials. We're an important part of that development system in the game in this province, and when we're not able to play, it affects people's path. But I do hope that people take this positively, and as Carm said, see it as an opportunity, not as a negative. Come back strong, spend the off season getting themselves fit. For players, this might be an opportunity for you to maybe take some coaching courses, or to maybe even if you're interested in officiating, take some officiating courses and use this time off beneficially. And the nice thing is also, because the stage 2 return to play rules do allow for some competition within a region, my hope is that Carm and I will get to go out to see some friendlies in September and October. And we might have to do it from a distance, maybe find a hill to stand on or something, but be able to watch the games and see something that approximates normal. So that does give me a little hope, because it's been too long since I've seen a live match.
Well said, Dino. Well said. Well, let's end on a positive note, because you mentioned that, you could still sort of do regional friendlies and sort of, I guess, competitions, whatever you want to call it. So do we know actively of teams that are trying that? I don't want you to speak out of turn, but that would be interesting to see, League One Ontario games still happen, I guess, this season technically.
Yeah, they're absolutely possible within the region. There's been some great initiatives taken by various clubs. One club in particular, FC London, has their own intra-league. They found their own competition within, crossing over some of the League One women's teams with some of the youth boys teams, and always finding that right level of challenge for the player. And again, doing the most with what they can do.
Yeah, and I've had some conversations with some clubs, and basically in my backyard here in Mississauga, that they're having conversations amongst groups within a district, a soccer district, which would constitute a region. And the plans aren't fully in place yet, but the outlines of a structure, a schedule, is starting to happen. So hopefully in a couple of weeks there'll be a little bit more information. Obviously, they will be closed to spectators. So we're going to have to hope that maybe there's a game being played at some place that, we can stand outside the perimeter. Yeah, all we need is a hill, just a vantage point. And who knows, maybe some people will record some games and we can then post it up to our YouTube. Why not? We give us something, right? We're hungry for something. So we're hopeful that we'll see 2, maybe 3, even 4 regions pop up where groups of clubs come together and share best practices amongst each other on how to best organize it. I know that our director of match officials, Tony Camacho, is excited to get some of his officials doing some games this fall. So we're hopeful that things can come together. But right now, I don't think it would be right to say that anything is locked in stone. But definitely, good work is happening.
Yeah, fair enough. Great news to end on. And I guess next time we'll see you, Dino, will be on the hill, behind the fence, 40 feet away or whatever.
Hit the camera.
Or maybe Carm and I can take a course on being a field marshal, and then we can help a club. We can do that. We have to shoo other people away, but at least we can watch the game.
Let's do it.
Let's take a field marshal course.
That's brilliant, and something to keep an eye on in 2020. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Marty.
Thanks, Marty.
Thanks, Carm.